Um, my last video was Be Kind, and it follows within the video feeds on YouTube. But I would like to add to it that, in the last video I discussed Harvey Weinstein, Trump, and Elon Musk, and Gates, and all those people. And those are leaders of the world and their industries and government and stuff. But they were evil leaders of the world. And not one of them is an entrepreneur. Not one of them. They're all thieves. And I would add Zuckerberg in that too. They're thieves. They stole ideas that other people had and, for whatever reason, made them better. You know, Zuckerberg stole from Mindspace. Uh, Musk stole from Tesla. Trump stole from everyone. Gates stole from Jobs. And, those are the real entrepreneurs. Jobs was a real entrepreneur. Walt Disney was a real entrepreneur. Uh, and great leaders. They were all great leaders of their industries. And they weren't, well, they weren't as charismatic. I mean, people didn't like Jobs. They liked what he created. I'm on it right now. But they didn't like him as a person because he wasn't nice. Walt Disney, he was nice. But he wasn't out to conquer the world. He wanted to entertain. He wanted to create entertainment. He wanted to create his parks and help kids and stuff. So, I mean, later on, Eisner and all the other people that took on after Walt Disney, they wanted to create a conglomerate, and own everything like ABC News and so forth, and all the DreamWorks and Star Wars, and they just want to own everything, because if you own everything, you'll never go bankrupt. That's their logic, at least. You won't go bankrupt because something you own will stay alive if everything else dies, and that'll be your. Same with Musk, he has SpaceX, he has the Starlink, he has Tesla, he had probably owns a good portion of PayPal. And if any one of those fail, it's not a big loss. And he won't be happy. They don't like those kinds of people. Don't want to lose a penny. They're the cheapest people on the planet. But if he would still have his hands somewhere, he would not lose everything. And he still has the emerald mines his family owns, so he'll never be reduced to a welfare check. But that's not good enough for him. He has to rule the world. He has to be the most richest person in the world. His goal is to be the first trillionaire, I'm sure. Stuff like that. But Walt Disney didn't want to be the first trillionaire. Jobs didn't want to be the first trillionaire. Jobs wanted to create. He wanted to bring things to the world that the world didn't have and could use. And like Apple Music, how it changed the world of the iPod, how it changed the world of music and all that. That wasn't about ruling the world or ruling music. It was about changing music, and that's what he did. And I don't think anybody wants to go back to records. I mean, I know records are popular now, but on a grand scale, they're not. But, it's just, and he didn't steal from the artists. He paid the artists that were on Apple Music. Maybe he didn't pay what they were worth. You can go into that, but they didn't rob them like Napster. Napster robbed them. And Napster was part of Facebook. So, it is what it is. But horrible leaders are horrible people. Good leaders are good people. Nelson Mandela was a good person. His wife, not so much. But his wife didn't do what Nelson did. And Gandhi was a good person, I think, to an extent. I don't know how much he did that out of the good for his people or the good for himself. Where I think Nelson was more for the good for his people than he was for the good for himself, because he did 20 some odd years in a horrible prison with no reward guarantee of any kind that he did get in the end. And he tried to be a good president when he became president, you know. But good leaders are good people. They're not out for the money. They're not out for the power. They're out to change the world in a good way. Nelson wanted to change the world in a good way. Jobs wanted to change the world in a good way. Walt Disney wanted to change the world in a good way. And, you know, Walt Disney could have made porn. He could have done all kinds of crazy things. He made Mickey Mouse, you know, so... And he made a lot of money making Mickey Mouse and Goofy, you know, so you got to give him some credit for that, you know. Gates and Musk, you know, they're all out for themselves. They don't even care about their own kids. I think Musk would have a hard time naming all his kids. And probably have enough time naming all his wives or girlfriends. He cares about himself. And so does Trump. Trump would have a hard time naming all the kids that he had sex with. Probably couldn't name 5 of them. But, you know, and he had a lot of sex with a lot of kids. But because he's president, or because he has all those people that I just listed behind him, you'll never get the truth. He fired Pam Bondi, right? Because she wasn't his henchman the way he wanted her to be. So, you know, stop electing, stop putting bad people in positions of power. Like Harvey Weinstein, bad person in power. Bad person in power. The leader of CBS, I don't know his name, I forget his name. I don't care to say his name, but he resigned because you know why. And it goes on and on. So stop putting these people in power. And when you find out they're in power, get them the hell out.